Hi, this is Cindy Hodnett, your host for Las Vegas Market Behind the Scenes. Today we have a very special broadcast for you recorded at Las Vegas Market. We hope you enjoy it.
Well, hello everybody. What a surprise to see you all here. First of all, I just want to say how thrilled I am to have this person up here who is an amazing culinary resource. She is so incredibly well-rounded. She writes, she cooks, she teaches. She has the Cook's Warehouse, cookwarehouse.com. And she's just an amazing individual, and I'm so proud and thrilled that she took the time to join me today to do this silly little thing that we're going to do. So
happy to do it.
Thank you.
So fun.
And happy to have you all here. Thank you guys. In case you don't know, my name is Kelly Hansen. I'm the lead singer of a little rock band named Foreigner. And we're gonna make some dishes today, and I'm gonna talk about, I guess, journey, and then later on we'll ask some questions. She's gonna have some questions for me. I'm gonna learn a lot from her today. And so where do you want to start? You want to start cooking first, or should I start talking about how I got into this?
Well, I'll start putting together the creamy carrot soup while you talk about how you got into it.
All right, the first thing, we're gonna do this creamy carrot soup, a raw soup. It's funny, I didn't know where I would end up in the food world, but I can tell you my first job was in a restaurant when I was 15. And I just found a pay stub from 1975.
Wow.
Where I made $1.25 an hour, and I was damn glad to get it. And so I started out that way, and maybe that affected my love for food, but when I was a struggling musician early on, it was very hard to have good food. And went through those peanut butter and jelly days and the ramen noodle days and all that kind of stuff. But once in a while, I'd be able to make a meal for myself. And I think it was really when I joined Foreigner because I had not been on the road for 15 years. I had been at home producing, engineering, developing artists, all that kind of stuff. Because I had to take a break in the singing world because in around 1990, this thing called grunge came in, and I was in a glam metal band, and it killed the whole heavy metal scene pretty much. And no one wanted to hear my kind of voice, so I knew I was going to have to take some time out, and I was going to have to explore other areas of my music career. So I hadn't been on the road for 15 years, and I got this feeling one day that I was working harder and getting less for what I was doing. And I finally one day woke up and said, I need to go back to what I do best, which is lead singing. I hadn't been doing it. So I decided to say to myself, I'm not going to say no to anything until I can't say yes anymore. Does that sound right? Yes. And so I went on the internet back in 2005. Who can remember being on the internet in 2005? And I heard about a charity event that Mick Jones, the leader and founder of Foreigner, was doing in Santa Barbara, just a couple hours north of where I live. And I didn't know if it was a Foreigner thing or whether Mick Jones was going to do a new project. I didn't know. But I decided to pursue it. And since I had been in the business, been around the block, I made a couple phone calls. And I got in touch with management. And the band had been dormant basically since 2002. Lou left for the second time. Lou Graham, the original singer of the band, left in 2002. And so, long story short, I got in the band, and it took off like a juggernaut, and we were on the road for 8 months a year, and I have been doing that for 15 years straight. Thank you.
We're glad you're back, by the way.
Yeah, and but it made me realize once I started getting on the road that there starts to arise issues with being able to eat the way you want to eat when you're on the road. Firstly, one of the glaring and annoying occurrences that happens almost daily is the difference between the description on the menu or the picture of the food and what you get when you finally gets to your door. And that started to become an issue. And then as I'm a singer for a living, I really have to take care of my voice. And I noticed I started having to do things, sacrifice one extra thing a year to maintain my same level of vocal ability and physical ability. So every year it's like this New Year's resolution where I give up something else. And so I had to give up eating spicy food at night and, you know, this, that, and the other. So it started focusing me and directing me to think about how I was eating, what I was eating, and how I was going to get it the way I needed to get it. Sometimes when you're on a big summer tour like we have coming up this summer, starting July 9th in Albuquerque and going through September with Kansas and Europe, we have a traveling catering company that travels with us, and you can really dictate exactly what you'd like to have, what kind of stuff you want to cycle through every day. But in a regular road touring situation, that's almost impossible. And being a singer, most of the time, because I'm doing a very challenging set of songs, they're very high, okay? And the older you get, the harder it is to sing very high. In fact, I am in vocal trouble right now, but I wanted to be with you guys today, so I'm drugged up like you can't believe. But you know, singing very high is difficult, and it means you really got to think about what you're doing with your voice. So I started noticing that when I would come home off the road, I really enjoyed going to the market and getting stuff I liked and knew exactly what ingredients I was going to put in my meal. I could source the kind of stuff I was getting. I knew where that chicken was coming from. I knew where that fish was coming from. If you're staying at some hotel in somewhere nowheresville, you have no idea where the stuff is coming from and what the quality is, but I can guarantee you this, it's probably not the best. So that really began my interest. And then in 2005 or 6, I did a celebrity cooking competition at the Atlanta Motor Speedway with Mario Batali and Tim Love and Guy Fieri. And we partnered up with a couple of racers and me. And so Tim Love and I, who, if you know Tim Love, he's got all of these great restaurants in Texas. He's a grilling master. We've done a couple of events together. We won, of course. And,
nice.
And my trophy was, a nice pepper mill. But that gave me entree into the world of celebrity chefs and high-end professional chefs. So, of course, I started keeping in touch with these people and talking to them and going to their restaurants. And when you know celebrity chefs, it's amazing because when you go to their restaurants, you get like free food. And you always get free dessert, and sometimes you'll get every single, what?
You're not eating much dessert.
No, I usually have one, that's another thing with my thing. I can have 1 or 2 bites of a dessert. I don't have to eat it all. It's a whole struggle about moderation. And I know that some of you have addictive personalities, like some people I know, and they say, you're absolutely insane. You're going to have 1 bite of that chocolate cake. And I go, well, at least I get to taste it. But I don't have to down it. I have to wear these size 28s on stage every night, and that takes some discipline.
You know what Julia Child said?
What?
One must take moderation in moderation.
Yeah, well, sure. That's true. It's very true. And I do have, because I have so many culinary opportunities, I do take advantage of that. But then you got to do a few extra laps or a few more sit-ups or what do you have to do. So in keeping in touch with these friends of mine, I started to learn more. I started to educate myself. I was always watching the Food Channel, and I was watching all of the cooking channels on TV. Every segment, every day, I started becoming kind of really obsessed with it. And finally, I said to one of the people in my crew, I said, I would really like to get on that cooking network show, Chopped. And my great publicist, Vanessa Menkes, she was able to secure me a position on Chopped. So it was a celebrity edition, which means they're a little bit easier on you. They don't make you have some crazy, wacky, outrageous basket. They try to be tongue-in-cheek and make it kind of music-themed. But that was a real experience. And if you've ever watched the show and ever wondered, it is real. There is no BS in that. It's as hard as it looks. It's as nerve-wracking as it seems. I spent more time sweating about doing that show than I ever did getting on stage in front of 50,000 people to sing a song.
Wow,
and
that says a lot.
I was researching.
Yeah.
I was making sauces. I was on the internet going, what's the weirdest chop basket that's ever been, given? I did all that stuff. And the saving grace of the day is when we went in to do the chopped episode, it was the dead of winter. It was February in, I believe, 2014. And the studios where they do the chopped is right above Chelsea Market in New York City, which is above a bunch of great restaurants and accessory stores and things like that. And but the heater was broken, so in the studio, in the cooking kitchen there, it was actually okay. It wasn't pleasant. You've seen shows where people are like sweating like mad. Well, it was really kind of nice and cool. So that really saved me that day. So I went on that, and I ended up winning that as well. And oh, thank you.
Awesome. How many of you have seen that episode? You can still, so just go like to Netflix or whatever, and you can dial it up. I think for $1.99. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I think the dish that really locked it in for me was I had just been to India, and if you ever get a chance to go to India and taste real Indian food, it'll sour you on most of the regular Indian dishes that you get here, unless you go to some really great place. Like I just went to the Ayla Masala House, Manit Chauhan's restaurant in Nashville, because in India, every dish is a completely unique flavor, taste, texture, as opposed to here where they'll make 3 different sauces and they'll make lamb, chicken, and beef, and then they'll just exchange the sauces, and it's really sad. So I had just been to India, and the main course basket consisted of a lamb T-bone, and I immediately thought I was going to make a curry sauce for it. So they let you preview the kitchen. You walk around the day before, and you see what's on the shelves, and you notice that they're very cheeky. What they do is they don't give you three blenders or 4 blenders. They always give you 1 less than who was ever up that round, so that you have to get to it. And I noticed that there was 1 can of coconut cream. And I had noticed that before, and it kind of was in the back of my mind. But when I saw that lamb T-bone, I was lucky enough to have the kitchen position that was closest to the pantry.
You also ran. I think
I
you
ran
yes.
over and I grabbed that coconut cream like you couldn't believe. And so another ingredient was beer. And so first of all, I put some canola oil in the pan. I salt and peppered those steaks. I cut off that big tongue that's on the top of a lamb T-bone, because I'd seen that on Chopped. And I put those on to sear while I worked on some other stuff. When I turned them over, I couldn't believe the beautiful sear that I had on them. It blew my mind. So, and I had gotten some Indian spices from the kitchen. I got some star anise and some turmeric, and I can't remember what else I got. But after they cooked on the stovetop, I put them into the oven, because they give you the oven preheated to 450. So I put that in there, and I had that beer, and I thought, oh, there's all this fat in there. I've got these spices going. I put all that together, and I put the beer in there. And when it came out, I took the steaks out to rest. And I'm thinking of all this. You have was it 20 minutes, I think it is, or half an hour? And your mind's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I knew I wanted those steaks done first so I could let them rest. So as they rested, I looked back at the stove and I saw this beautiful brown bubbling sauce in the pan. And I opened that can of coconut cream, and I didn't shake it. And I just opened it up, and there's this block of solid coconut cream, and I just took a big scoop of that there, and I put it in that pot. And I got raves from those judges. And I made a couple of good friends on the show. Chris Santos is now a good friend of mine, lives really close by to me in Los Angeles now. So these are the kind of things that have fueled me forward in my cooking journey. And I'm just so happy to be able to come up here and talk to you guys about food and about music too. So when we get to that too, I'll talk about anything you want to talk about, music and eating and how that affects you or anything like that. So, but let's make some soup.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to swap places with you.
All right.
Now, Kelly has an amazing palate, I've come to notice.
Oh, sure.
And so it's true.
I said add a little salt.
Very discerning. So I'm going to have you season the soup So this is carrot juice, fresh carrot juice, and avocados. So there's no cream. This is actually a vegan recipe, and it's raw. So, you know, if you don't heat anything above 114 degrees, it's considered raw, and you still get all the vitamins and nutrients and all the benefit.
And it's gluten-free too, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Gluten-free, raw, vegan. It hits all the high notes.
Right.
So we'll add some ginger. This is fresh ginger.
Which I peeled.
That you did.
Now, I don't know how you guys do it. I like to peel ginger, if you've ever done it with the back of a spoon, with the edge of a spoon. That's always a great way to do it. Another way that I found is if you have your chef's knife, if you've got one that's got a square spine, that's a really great way to skin ginger. There's all kinds of other things out there, but that's the way I like to do it.
So we're adding coriander, cumin, and some cayenne. And I added our fresh ginger. We're gonna add a little bit of agave for some sweetness. And some lemon. You wanna whack that lemon in half, and we'll add some fresh lemon juice. And I'm using the Vitamix A3500 blender, which is awesome. I wonder if I have.
Is that a brand new one?
It is in their newer series, and it's the #1 seller.
What do you
and
need?
It's an amazing, is that citrus press back there? Is it stainless steel?
Oh yeah,
thing?
it's back there, I saw it.
It's the best, because we've got some seeds in here, and I don't want to get them, although the Vitamix would puree them, it really wouldn't matter. We could throw the whole lemon in, as a matter of fact.
You can do lemon rind.
We can throw the whole thing in. Oh, great, thank you. So I'm all about the tools that make life in the kitchen more fun and more efficient. And I love a citrus squeezer. I use this often at home for cocktails or for salad dressings and for soups.
A good little tip to remember with your citrus squeezer is that you should immediately clean it, especially if you have one that has a coating on it, like mine is like yellow and green with 2 different slots for lemons and limes, because that citric acid will eat right through that thing, and then what you're getting is that kind of, it's harder to keep it clean, and you get impurities in there. So when you do your citrus squeezing, immediately wash it, keep it clean.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
How often do you get to cook?
Well, usually when we do a leg, we call them legs, we don't go out for more than 6 weeks at a time. Now, that seems like a long time, and it is, but if it was up to my manager, I'd never go home. So we do 6 weeks, and then we'll take about 7 to 10 days off. So I will always go home and cook. It's difficult, though, to try to get just the right amount of ingredients to last you the time that you're home.
Yeah.
So I end up trying to make a few things that I can freeze so that when I come home next time I have them. But we usually end our touring season around September, October, sometime around then. So I get to have a couple months at home. And the thing is I like to stay at home. I don't go out to restaurants. I cook all my meals at home. I wash all my dishes myself. And the funny thing is that I get all this time off, and guess what? I don't go on a vacation, because after what I do for a living, there's no way I want to go and see another hotel or get on another plane. So I love being at home and being able to do that. And I live in the San Fernando Valley. Can I have a taste?
Please.
I live in the San Fernando Valley, and I have some great stores and resources for culinary supplies. Ooh, I haven't tasted this before. It's good. I'd like some more lemon in there.
Right on.
Think?
We got lemon.
Do we put salt and pepper in here?
We have not yet. A little bit of lemon.
Oh, that is nice and fresh. I like that.
Yeah. It's a great fresh flavor that you can't get it any
You
other
guys
way,
are
right?
going to get to have some taste some of this as well.
So we've got our ratchet pepper mill from Coon Recon, which I love. These are the ones we use in our cooking school. And I've got Charmaine's Telecherry black peppercorns in there. So if you want some delicious, perfect spices and blends that are non-irradiated, all natural, which I like, all natural, right? It's all about the ingredients that go in.
Salt?
I forget the number.
Salt?
Yeah, I'm looking for the
I'll
salt.
I'll get it.
Thanks, Kelly. But go see Charmaine at Salt Sisters. How many of you have gourmet stores? Couple? Awesome. Do y'all do cooking classes? Yeah, great.
You want this one?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. Delicious. That's what we got.
See, and I thought, I put it on the shaker setting. She turned it all the way around.
I like to control what I'm doing. I like to feel it, you know? It's about the feel. So I got a job one time. After I cooked professionally, I went to work at Harry's Farmer's Market in research and development. And the way that came about is the guy who had gone to work in this new department, he had been the governor's chef. And I always cooked for him when he came to the restaurant where I worked. He called me and he said, hey, I want you to come to Harry's Farmer's Market and join our research and development team because I like the way you sprinkle salt.
Hey,
And I was like,
see?
what?
And even I noticed.
Right. Goes a long way. Okay, tasty in. And then you'll have a snack. Like that extra lemon, brightens it up.
Yeah.
A little more salt.
See, me, I would put some heat in it.
It's got a little cayenne coming on the back.
A little bit on the back of my throat there. It's
Yeah.
good. What's coming on now?
It sneaks up on you.
Yep.
You always have to worry about which pepper you're using. Some peppers come in strong in the beginning and some heat up later.
Yeah.
Do you feel
We
it?
were talking a lot about peppers, because I love peppers, all different kinds of peppers, and I'm going to actually use peppers in in my dish I make here.
I wanted some more salt.
More salt?
A little more. And as this soup sits too, those flavors will develop even more. You can serve it right away, but you can certainly make it about 30 minutes ahead, and it'll give you some extra flavor. All right, now y'all can be the judge. Thank you. Got it?
All right.
And that was 5 minutes, right?
Congratulations.
I mean, 5 minutes,
Yes.
5 minute, delicious, healthy, awesome soup.
You know, we were talking about,
Coconut water too is what I use to sort of level out the viscosity.
we were talking, when we came up with this idea for us to come together and do this, she asked me what kind of food interested me, and one of the things I talked to her about was clean and vibrant foods. Like there's a whole new, I'm not even going to say new, maybe the last 15 years, a new kind of Latin vibe that's come around that is, I think, more honestly and correctly reflecting the Latin food scene, where it's very vibrant, it's very fresh. It's not like the old Mexican restaurant where you would go and everything was made with lard, and there's a whole different scene out there that is so incredible. And I'm a native Californian, so I really do enjoy spending time making that kind of stuff myself. So we talked about doing light and fresh stuff today, stuff that's not difficult to do, doesn't take a long time. I do these hors d'oeuvre segments when we do our summer tour for the VIP events. I'll create these hors d'oeuvres that we'll serve, and there's so many requirements to be able to serve that on the road. Has to be ingredients that I can find locally all over the country. Has to be able to be made very quickly by someone else because I'm busy doing, so I have to instruct them how to do it and then do it. And it has to be something that's that people will take in and not so strange or unusual. Like if I go to Iowa, it's going to be much harder to get people to eat tofu than it would be something else. So I have to think about that element too. So the fresh, vibrant, easy to make is really something that I feel is just going across the country right now. What do you got there?
I think we should make some of your guacamole.
Okay, sure.
It's delicious. This is Kelly's recipe.
Where am I going to do it? In here?
Yeah, does that work for you?
Sure.
All right.
I'll switch with you.
Yeah. Let me clean this up for you.
Just like I just said, I live in California, and I've had guacamole from all places all over the world. And I find that, are we commenting on the soup?
Oh, you like it?
Yes?
Right on.
I hear murmurs out there.
Great.
Talk freely. I get very particular about certain things, and one of them is my guacamole. And I get perturbed when I see people putting tomato, especially in guacamole.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And people do all kinds of weird things like corn and what have you. Yeah, corn, yeah. But I really like to keep it really pure. So my guacamole only has 7 ingredients. And again, that speaks to knowing what you have, knowing where it comes from, and being able to say, I can taste all those flavors. You're giving them room to speak for themselves. Like if you're making an album and you're doing an arrangement, if you put too many instruments on there, they won't have enough room to speak So there'll be things on there that you don't hear. And what's the point of doing that? You want to put something on there and you want every single instrument to speak so that you can hear the beautiful presentation. I think that translates perfectly to food. So as we go through this, and I'm going to get my glove on, because I'm putting a glove on because we're going to use habanero pepper. Wicked.
Hot.
And I prefer to use habanero just because we were talking about it backstage there, that I think it has a little bit more romance. I think it elevates it a little bit. And it's also, I speak about peppers in the same way Eddie Van Halen talks about guitar tone. So it's in granules, like grains of sand. Now, if you're playing a guitar and you're having a big chang-langy open sound, or ringing, chingling sound, that's more like big boulders, big rocks. But if you turn up the distortion really, really high and it's very, very fuzzy, that's really tiny grain. And I look at peppers the same way. They have different grain feel to me. Like cayenne pepper is pretty in your face, bold, doesn't take a lot of time to get there. It's maybe like some people that you know. And this one, I think, when you put the right amount in, it's very even, it's very smooth, it's a small grain, but it is very potent. So I think that's why I enjoy this so much. And I'm starting to explore peppers more and more in my cooking life.
That's awesome.
All right. So now we talked about this. You want me to use this? You want me to use this tool? Tell them about this magical tool.
You can do it. Why don't you do it?
I'm
going to
do it for the first time. You tell them about it, and I'll use it for the first time.
So this is the Microplane's garlic tool. And it's really great to use because it's safe. It doesn't have a super sharp edge. Kids can use it. Kelly can use it, right? You cut the avocado. It's got where you grab the seed on the bottom. Here we go. I'll take it. You got the trash can? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's got a little claw on the bottom to take the seed out, and then it also has a scoop, and you just scoop the avocado out, and it takes 3 seconds. Super easy to use.
Or 5 if you're doing it like me for the first time.
Yeah, it's the first time, right? Feels like the first time you've ever used an avocado tool.
First time today.
Might not be the last.
That's the other question I get asked. People come up to me sometimes, they go, "Are you Aerosmith?"
Oh, no.
And I say, "The whole band?"
Right.
And then I say, do you know you look like the guy from Aerosmith? And I go, "It's the first time today." And I said, "You're insulting me by saying I look that old."
On the back. You're going
I'm going the
your
old
knife
way.
skills, yeah. So you know how many accidents happen when people take a super sharp chef's knife and hit in the avocado? You're good if you hit it right, but if you go through it, it's a big problem.
And you know, most knife accidents happen in the kitchen because the knife is not sharp enough. And
That's an excellent point. It's true.
What'll happen is you'll bounce or you'll slide off of whatever you're trying to cut, and you'll go towards the next thing, which is usually your finger.
We use too much pressure, right? So when you have super razor sharp knives like this set of Wusthof classic knives we're using today, which I love, they stay sharp for a long time and they're easy to resharpen, all super important. You want to have the right tool that works, but they just glide through everything. If you're having to use a lot of pressure, take your knives to your local gourmet store. Hopefully you have one in your community still, and they might have a knife sharpening service. And if they don't, tell them to call me and I'll help them understand how to build that business up, because it's a great business.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. Brings people in twice. They drop their knives off and they pick them up. Plus, I mean, it's just a great service.
Right.
And sometimes the knives that they bring in, right, it was your grandmother's, great-great-grandmothers, and sometimes people just need new knives. Sometimes they have the ever sharp that have that serrated edge that are just never going to be sharp again. So it gives us an opportunity to coach people and to show people the different way.
Sorry, I got a lot of avocado on my hand.
No worries.
All right, so what I do is I like to put all of my ingredients in before I start smashing the avocado. Because if you don't, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be smashing the avocado over and over again each time you put in your ingredients. If you already smashed it before you put ingredients in, so it just get real soupy. And I kind of like it to be kind of chunky. So I will leave it like this, and I'll wait until I put everything in here. I'm going to do the other way. We talked about this, but I'm going to do this way.
If you put less pressure on the top of that onion, it'll be easier to push the knife through. That make sense?
Yes.
Am I making you nervous?
What's that?
Am I making you nervous?
No. Am I okay? Okay. I was telling her this morning because I'm on this albuterol because my voice is really not in great shape, but it makes you really shaky.
Oh no.
Which is not what you want for this, but. And so in measuring, because I'm not a chef, I'm kind of go,
Yeah.
that looks about right. And then what I'll do is I'll just push all this over here in case I need more later. And we have a garlic press for these, right? Are
We
these
do.
peeled? Do we need to peel them?
You don't need to peel it.
right.
This is new Kuhn Recon garlic press. It's great. You don't have to peel the garlic, nothing. You just push it right through. Easy to clean, easy to open. You can take the back of the knife, and if you take the back of the knife, you can get all that
Oh yeah,
goodness
I will
off.
when I do
Yeah,
this.
okay. So then this opens up, that pops out.
Ah, I see.
Yep. Ready to go for the next one.
All right.
Yeah.
See,
I
I
got-
told you I was going to learn stuff today.
Yeah. I got Kelly's recipes, and it said a handful of this and a pinch of that, and it was good. Good measures.
All right. I've learned from experience that too much garlic is not a good thing for your avocado. It'll get to the point where it's working, and then it's just bitter and not great. I'm just going to just lightly chop this. I don't want to do too much to it.
Oh, wow.
That looks like about enough.
Big cilantro leaves.
Now, you cut this slightly differently than I do. You know what? I need my glasses.
Can I help you?
No, it's okay. Now, this habanero is usually, jalapenos I find to be incredibly inconsistent in their heat. Habaneros seem to be way more consistent in my experience. So I always treat them the same, but I always add half as much as I think I'm going to need first, and then add more if I need it, because you can't take it back out, as we all know. So I always cut it in half. I leave the seeds in, and then what I do is I slice it like this.
You got some really good knife skills. Lots of practice.
I'm doing a lot of chopping at home.
Yeah. When did you start singing?
I started singing in 1977, I think.
So how not to ask your age, but I'm curious.
I think
if
you're
you-
asking my age.
I'm curious.
I'm 58 years old.
I'm tying these two things together. You said you started in the restaurant business at 15, and you started singing at what age?
About 17, yeah.
Oh, that was my inclination, is that you're really a cook first.
Well, you know, that's what I was.
That's what
when
I'm
I
saying.
found that pay stub, I kind of said to myself, "Yeah, I really was a kind of a cook first." Now I'm gonna dice the heck out of this because it does have that heat. And notice the glove is on the hand that touches the habanero.
The oil and the pepper really soaks that heat into your skin. Makes it
And I'm just going to put a half in there right now. We have our juicer.
Yes. We do.
Sorry, I'm so shaky from my medication. I'm like, anyways. See now, I saw you do it this way. Is
Yes.
that the correct way?
Yes.
Because I always do it this way.
Oh,
Is the wrong way?
yeah. Pretty much.
Here, let's have a vote.
You can do it.
All right.
Because then all the juice comes out through the holes.
Right.
And you get that inversion pressure.
All right. I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to see this how I'm going to do it.
All right. See, the juice is coming out of the side instead of the bottom.
I don't know. You tell me.
Which one has more juice left?
You know what? You're right because that's how much of a gentleman I am.
Well, thank you.
Now, I need some salt.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yes. I'm going to do it your way. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm going to do it like this.
You can really see what you're doing. And it's also important to use kosher salt. I like to
Don't
use
worry.
kosher salt because you can feel it and sprinkle it, right? You never use real fine iodized.
Well, you know, I have a bad habit. I have what do they call that? A salt cave.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of jiggle it, you know, and
Yeah, grab and
take it that
go.
way.
It's the way to do it. Pepper? You don't put pepper in your
No, I don't.
black pepper?
No.
Are you into avocado toast?
Oh yeah, and this is great for avocado toast. But, or, you know, the thing about, for me, avocado toast is the two magic ingredients are first butter on the bread.
Yeah.
And I like sourdough. And then some bacon. Oh yeah.
Butter with bacon.
Sourdough.
Everything's better with bacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just gonna really fold this all together.
So the version that you all are going to taste is mixed much more fine than how he's mixing it up here, but that's because I made it before I had Kelly on site to show me what he liked to do.
See, because when I gave her the recipe, you know, I didn't really give her a recipe.
No.
I'm not a
A handful of this and one of these and one of those.
All right, now I want to taste this now, see how we did.
Chips. Do we have the corn chips down there? May I grab one of those bags of corn chips, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh.
Here's the guac.
I had a chip with a bubble in it and it broke.
Extra crunch.
I like it.
I do too. I think it's delicious.
A little salty. It's all right.
That's good.
Oh yeah, it's got the heat level I
You
like.
could put a chip with some guacamole on there too. Yep.
Oh.
Great. Delicious.
See, I love that. When I think about making a dish and I'm thinking about making it simply, texture is as important as anything else. And with the avocado, because it's so soft and creamy, having that onion in there to counter it and give it that crunch. And then you have that avocado, which is creamy and a little bit of sweet. Then you have the salt and all those, the heat. Those are all those elements coming together. Again, I always compare cooking to music. Imagine that this is a song, right? And this is your chorus lyric, and this is your melody, and and maybe the habanero is the guitar solo, and you're putting them all together and you're building a song. Well, it's the same thing with cooking. Maybe that's why I find a closeness to it and I find comfort in it. Because when I'm cooking, I'm not doing it on a deadline. I don't have a record company breathing down my neck. I can throw it away if I don't like it. And it does all the things for me that music does without all of the pressure. And I think that's, in my mind, how I connected to food in that way.
That's awesome.
All right.
It's a symphony. It's beautiful.
Yeah, maybe cilantro could have chopped a little bit more, but I do like to really taste the cilantro.
Yeah.
And if you don't like cilantro, I feel so sorry for you. They say it's genetic.
Yes. So we have this beautiful salad that we're going to make, and we'll just put this together really quickly so they can maybe add it to your plates down there. So this is a combination of romaine and radicchio that I've just shredded, essentially. Take your knife and chop it up really fine. And to that, and I'll show you how to cut some of these vegetables in a minute, but just so we get it going. So we have some, do y'all know what jicama is? Yeah. Jicama, delicious, right? Is a great ingredient to use. So in this bowl, I have sliced radishes, some cilantro, and then grapefruit and orange sections. So I've sectioned those. And to that, and we've let it sit so the flavors melt a little bit. I made a dressing, and I'll show you how to make this dressing in a second, but I want to toss this up so you all can be enjoying it. So the dressing is really a citrusy dressing made with some mayo and some vinegar. We're just tossing it. Right.
So you'd consider this obviously like a summer salad.
Yes, delicious, just light, bright, citrusy flavors, really fresh, healthy salad. You could add some protein to it if you wanted to do that.
Right, what do you think would be good?
Oh, I might do some shrimp.
Right,
Some grilled shrimp would be really nice.
Right.
Or a grilled chicken too.
Right.
But this actually, with the citrusiness of it, would be great with some fish.
Yeah.
So I would
it
I
do
lean,
a little bit of a ceviche kind of vibe on
yeah.
it?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I would lean towards the fish and the shrimp. So with your lettuce, we just put some of this for the presentation. We put our our fruit mixture and jicama mixture right over the top. And I've got 2 platters up here so they can toss it as they're serving it. But it's a really just kind of beautiful, bright, fresh salad.
We were talking about, she said there's radishes in here, and it got me thinking
Yeah.
because I told her one of my little secret weapons that I use in the kitchen might be surprising you, but it's a truffle slicer.
Oh, yeah.
And I used a truffle slicer. I remember, what was it Goodfellas? When they were in the prison scene, they were chopping the garlic with the razor blade. Well, you can do that with much better results with the truffle slicer. It has an adjustable blade. It doesn't have a guard, so it can be dangerous. You have to be careful. But you can get such thin slices of garlic. Also, it's beautiful for radishes. Like if you're making some chicken tacos and want to put some radishes on top, you can get radishes you can see through it. They're so beautiful. Also great for Parmesan cheese, for chocolate, not just for truffles anymore. So, and they're $20. You can get an inox for $20. And I use it all the time. It's one of those essentials that I have.
At your favorite local gourmet store.
Yeah.
So the other thing I added to this were just toasted pumpkin seeds. Roasted, salted, toasted pumpkin seeds. A little bit of that out on the deck, a little rosé.
That's amazing.
I know, right? And the biggest thing about this salad is prepping the fruit. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly. But once you have master your knife skills, put this down here somewhere. Sorry to crowd y'all in. I know. Once you master your knife skills, and if you've got a local store that teaches a knife skills class, then I would highly recommend it. That's our #1 class at the Cook's Warehouse for the last 25 years is Knife Skills 101.
700 classes a year.
Yeah.
With 300 volunteers. I just think that's so amazing. She's great. She's just so well-rounded.
Thank you. So we're cutting the top and the bottom off of the orange. And this is, so going to be corny again? So if you really want to know what love is.
Yes.
Yeah. Sectioning fruit for your guest is love. Because it takes a minute.
You're right about that.
It takes a minute. And you can just chop it up and leave the membrane in there, but love is in the getting rid of the membrane.
I just ignore her.
All right. So now that the skin is off, you just go right down the edges. Is that in the camera view? So you can see the membrane in the middle. And so you're just cutting each one of those sections out. So that's what I'm talking about love. It takes a minute because you do about 4 oranges and a grapefruit for the salad, depending on how many you're serving.
Right. But it also leaves it changes the texture of the orange so that it's a much cleaner, lighter, more elegant feel in your mouth.
It is. And I'm not an advocate for cutting anything in the air, right? But when you're doing this, you've got a lot of the...
Yeah, you're scaring me a little bit, but I know you're a professional.
I am using very light pressure, a super sharp knife, and I've got a little bit of padding in the middle from the orange, but don't be lulled into a false sense of security on that. So that's it on the sectioning piece. So we just section a grapefruit, we section an orange, and with the romaine, thank you. So with the romaine, this is parts of romaine, and I like to cut a little bit down the middle, and then just shred it. And you can do your lettuce however you want, but I like it shredded.
What is the origin of this recipe? Where did you come up with this?
It's a northern Mexico,
okay.
Northern Mexican recipe. You were talking about, some Mexican or Latin-inspired flavors.
Right.
And Indian too, which we didn't really cover the Indian too much.
Right.
But I love shredded lettuce. I love a chopped salad, a shredded lettuce salad. easy to eat.
Yep. And also, it's an important part to have in your diet.
Yes.
I sometimes I curate these dinner events across the country, and I've noticed in some parts of the country that you'll get a plate back and everything but the green is eaten. And it would be nice if people really take to heart that intaking green vegetables, it becomes a really main part of your diet. As you get older, it becomes even more important. But I've been to dinners where I've seen full plates of white and brown food, and that's a disappointing thing for me. I don't know about you.
Disappointing and disappointing from a flavor perspective, visually. You know, we eat with every part of our being. It's the smell, that's hearing as you're cooking. We're going to saute some chicken. If you put chicken down in a pan and you don't hear anything, then the pan's not hot enough. Every step along the way, your senses inform where you're going with the food.
Absolutely.
So it sounded like a lot of people were familiar with jicama, but for those who aren't, just a great vegetable that's really nice and watery, and it's got a great crunch to it. So you just can cut the top and the bottom off. And I think I have my trusty, rusty peeler up here, but maybe not. So I'll just peel it with my knife.
I know where your peeler is. I can get it for you. You want to use
Somebody have a peeler back there? I'll just cut off a little bit. So I just want y'all to see, for those who haven't seen jicama, it's solid all the way through. So all you need to do...
Like, what do you think? It's like a radish meets a potato kind of
Yeah,
thing?
It is, because it's not a bold flavor at all. But what it will do is it will soak up and take on the flavors of what you're cooking. So it's really going to soak up that salad dressing. And it's just going to give a nice, it has a real high water content. So good and good for you. Okay. So I just cut this into sort of planks and then make matchsticks for our
It's a little
like
tricky.
that.
It's a little tricky to cut.
Little
Especially from the round state.
A little bit. But if you cut things flat, you know, you never want to approach cutting anything like that. Always go away from the wobble and let it sit down, and then just chop it up. It's great on a mandolin too. So you can use your mandolin and just get a really nice fine grate, or a box grater.
Sure.
If you want to do that. All right. So y'all are going to be having that salad in a second. And then the dressing is really simple. It's apple cider vinegar and mayo.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, a little bit of mayo. But it's sort of we don't use a lot of it. So we use about, 3 tablespoons or so.
How do you feel about making your own mayonnaise at home?
I think it's a great thing to do. I mean, if you really want to control your ingredients, the only way is to make it yourself. I like to stay away from a lot of soy oils.
There's a lot of stabilizers in jar mayo.
Right, and it's easy to make.
You can hear my voice is already starting to go away.
You need a shot of this apple cider vinegar.
Oh, God.
Good and good for you.
That's a good joke to pull on someone.
Yeah.
Say, have you ever tried this? Just take a shot.
I
think I did that to my manager's store.
It's really good for you. There's I gave away my citrus. There's a company that Stonewall Kitchen bought recently, and they do these great sipping vinegars.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I got different flavors: cranberry, a blueberry. There's a cranberry one, a blueberry, a ginger one. It's delicious. Mix it with a little bit of sparkling water.
You know, there's so many great vinegars out there. Even Trader Joe's has like an orange pomegranate vinegar, and I love to pickle my own onions. One of my favorite recipes is my taco recipes, and I do a quick pickle. It's so easy. You're just doing like a cup of whatever mixture of vinegars you want, a half tablespoon of salt and sugar, and you just put it to a boil, and then you put your sliced onions in there, and then just cool it. And as soon as you can get it cool, you can eat them, and they're just amazing. It's really,
awesome.
Really easy.
Yeah.
It's better than, I'm a big fan of trying to make everything you can yourself. First thing it's going to be cheaper. Second thing, it's going to be fresher. And third thing is you're going to know everything that's in it.
Right. Yeah. Great philosophy. Do you have a microplane grater?
I do. I have
okay, good.
That exact one except with the green handle.
Y'all all know about the microplane grater. It's sort of like playing the violin across your citrus and just getting the most beautiful zest. when I cooked professionally, these were not yet invented, or actually they were woodworking tools. It was a rasp at the time, until Shirley Courier said, hey, that would be great for citrus.
Great for ginger.
Yeah, ginger. It's like Parmesan cheese. It makes it like a puff of snow, a pile of snow. It's delicious. So
yeah, you know, if you grate Parmesan cheese with that, you'll get a pile of Parmesan cheese like this, and it'll just disappear.
Yeah.
In your food.
So then we're adding in chili. So fresh, dried chilies. These are ground ancho chilies, but you could buy the fresh dried chilies and just put them in the mortar and pestle. And that's a salad dressing. It's really easy.
I had traveled with them because of the food thing that I talked about. I traveled with this little container where I can hold, I think it's 8 or 10 different kinds of spices in the single jar, and it's a section. So you take a section off, and you can turn the perforated holes around and add spices to something if you don't have that. And sometimes I even have salt and pepper, because sometimes I'll get room service and they'll forget the salt and pepper, and while they're taking another half an hour to get it, your food's getting cold. So it's better just to have it with you when you travel.
Smart. You figured it all out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you have to.
you know, doing it a while, you learn a few things.
Do you want to make the chimichurri?
Yes.
Awesome. That's our final recipe today. It's chimichurri, and we're doing this with chicken. I think the recipe you have is Argentinian beef, which is delicious with steaks, great with chicken, great with shrimp. It's great with a lot of different things.
Or flank steak, or
Yes. Yum.
flap steak, skirt steak, all of those.
I'm going to grab a clean bowl for us, and you can start maybe chopping up the parsley and cilantro.
Okay.
Those are the main
What are we going
ingredients.
to put it in?
Huh?
Oh,
I'm going to grab a bowl.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Well, I'll just sit here and chop the exciting chopping stylings of Kelly Hansen. You want fine, coarse?
Show off your knife skills. Fine. Fairly fine.
Cilantro, does everybody in here like and use cilantro? Yeah?
Yes.
I'm a regular cilantro user. I use it in so many dishes. It has just a wonderful freshness, brightness that it brings to stuff. All right?
You know, it also takes heavy metals out of your body.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, great health property of cilantro.
Do I want to get rid of my heavy metal?
Yeah. Not yet.
Yeah, wait a while.
Yeah. So you can use red wine vinegar or lemon juice, or a combination of the two in the chimichurri. It's totally up to you. We're going to use some red wine vinegar. Have y'all tasted it yet? The chimichurri? Yeah? No? Salad? No? Okay, it's coming around. And then we're adding in some olive oil. I like to use extra virgin olive oil. I think it's really important to buy good quality olive oils. If you're gonna use it for salad dressing or for dipping or just eating, then certainly the high-end olive oils, the higher the polyphenols that are in it, the healthier properties they have. And when you buy the really nice olive oils...
Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, have you
Okay.
used one of those before?
Yes, I have. I don't have one.
You just roll it, yeah. So this is the garlic peeler. Have y'all seen the garlic peelers before? You just put the clove in and roll it, and it peels the skin right off, which is really nice.
There
And
it
you
is.
don't wind up with as much garlic on your fingers. And we'll do a fine chop with that. So the really nice olive oils, you don't want to heat those or use to cook with. As soon as you heat them up, they lose that great flavor profile and property. So just use those for
You want me to use a press, or you want me to?
either way. Press is quick and easy.
Yeah, press.
You can press it right in the bowl. Yeah. I use a garlic press a lot, even though I love to chop things up. It's kind of zen, you know. It's a good relaxing thing to do, but for garlic, oregano, using some dried oregano. You could also use fresh. Anytime you're using dried ingredients, give them a squeeze between your fingers or use a spice mill, because it really does brighten up the flavor.
How many of these do you want? I got 3 here.
Yeah, perfect. And then some crushed red peppers, for as hot as you want it or not want it. I need to take that off because I like it a little hotter. There we go. And then you can, we just add all these things together and stir it up. So you can marinate your chicken in this, or you can marinate your shrimp in it, and then you also use it to serve. What do y'all have right now? The salad and the chicken? How's the salad? Yeah?
How many of you just came for the free food?
Yeah.
By the way, you know, foreigners doing a residency at the Venetian right now.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to be there. We have, I think, 3 more shows ending on February 1st. And don't worry, I'll have my voice back by then. And I think we're going to be coming back probably next year as well. They already said to us it was such a successful sellout that they want to have us back. So I'm really happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions about the recipes? No? Are you going to make them at home? Going to give them a try? Yeah? Okay. That's the best testament possible. Any more questions for Kelly?
I have a question about the, I'm an airline flight attendant. So I'm
Same
traveling.
Yes.
difficulty.
I'm constantly traveling and have to food prep and prepare ahead of time. So the soup is delicious. So how would you store that?
Can you take a mason jar?
Yes.
Yeah, or just some kind of jar that you can take it. It really needs to stay cold. So
There's
just like in your lunch, if you have a Yeti.
There's some
lunch
really
pail.
good insulated bags.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have really good
Yeah.
bags. I didn't know if it had to be room temp or if it was better kept cold.
Yeah. Cold as ice.
You're way ahead of me. Way ahead of me.
I'm one of those 17-year-olds back in Boston. My second concert was Florida. I lost my yard.
Right.
Back then. And this question for you, now that you're with the band, do we go fly, I think you joined?
Yes.
So, I mean, what's that like when I know you were an accomplished musician before that, but I mean, joining them and all of a sudden trying to do those songs, they're tough songs. And you do great.
Thank you.
Just wondering what it was like transitioning to try to.
You know, well, as I mentioned before, I hadn't been on the road for 15 years. But luckily, I had experience with my previous band, Hurricane, traveling all around the country in Japan. And because you gather skills about how to take care of yourself and how to get through that life without losing your mind. So I had a lot of that under my belt. I don't think that a person can join Foreigner the way I did without having that experience under your belt, because there's so much coming at you so quickly, and you can go outside of your bounds and your limits so quickly, and then you're really in the weeds, you're really in trouble. So knowing your limitations, knowing how many shows in a row you can do, knowing how much time you have to rest, you have to learn to not be a long-winded, late-night drinking storyteller, because as a vocalist, that's just out. Maybe as a guitar player, I've seen plenty of those. So it was quite a transition for me. When I got off the phone, when they said, we started booking shows for this weekend, can you start rehearsing tomorrow?
Wow.
I had 5 days to learn the show, and I had lyrics in my bed, I had lyrics in my car, I had lyrics everywhere. And so I gotta say, maybe the first 6 months was a bit of a blur, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to remember every word of every song. You're trying to formulate a show where you're tying songs together with your banter with the audience between. You're building a set list. You're learning what kind of stage clothes you're going to wear. You're learning where you're going to move on stage during which song, because that has to be a ballet with all the other band members, so you're not running into each other. And these are things that take a lot of time to perfect. And it's so great being in a band with the kind of guys that I am in the band with. It's super rare to be able to have a bunch of guys that really enjoy each other's company. They can give as much as they take, and we give and take a lot. There are no boundaries for humor. Everyone goes as deep and dark as you could ever imagine in your wildest nightmare. But it was very difficult, but the thing that I had going for me is I had the support of Mick Jones, his full 100% support, and we were very like-minded and simpatical about our beliefs about how to perform things on stage, how to approach things in regards to how to represent the band. And I had these wonderful catalog of songs to be able to sing every night. Most bands have one or two hits that they muddle through other songs to get to by the end of their set. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to sing a set where every song is a well-known, well-crafted piece of art. And it's my job to try to do the best I can to represent it faithfully every night. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. He is amazing. I've seen the show. And
It was
amazing.
not an easy show last night, as you can probably tell. But the audience was fantastic, and I've always been very gracious to me, and that's something I am forever grateful for. Thank you.
Yeah, Kelly, are your shows all sold out here at the Venetian this week?
Yes, they are. There might be, as of a week ago, there might have been some for Wednesday, but they're sold out. Yeah. Have to wait till next time.
Next year.
See you on Friday.
All right.
Oh, good.
We'll see
Awesome.
you.
Yes. I would just use more lemon juice to really bright. I mean, salt brings brightness out, but I would use more lemon juice for that. Yeah. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Is every
What's your favorite salt?
My favorite salt? Well, so to cook with, I always use a kosher salt, and I'm a big fan. I mentioned Charmaine and the Back Salt Sisters earlier because it's all very clean, non-irradiated spices and salts. So that's my preference to cook with. So for finishing, there are so many. If you had told me 5 years ago that I would be selling 40 different kinds of salt in my store, I would say you're crazy, but it's just true. So I really love truffle salt. I like the Himalayan pink salts. I like the black salt. There's so many different kinds
What's
now.
the truth about the purity of the Himalayan pink salt? Is that the real appeal?
Yeah.
And it's so old
Pure
and it's
and
so pure.
old.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, I like spices that actually have in them, like gray sea salt, all the vitamins, all the minerals that are in them that are supposed to be in them, right? Because what they did is they stripped, when you just buy a big box of kosher salt, they've stripped everything out. All you're getting is salt, so you don't get all of the great properties. So when you align with somebody that's got really great ingredients, that uses really pure salts and different spices to blend with them, then you're having a much better product and you're getting a lot more out of it.
Yeah, and there's a huge growth of these cottage industries in all things connected to food. There's a lot, the cottage industry with salt, and I know there's some people up near the Puget Sound that are making their own salt. And there's the whole craft beer industry, and everybody getting into these micro parts of cooking has become very popular.
Yeah, it has, and I feel like we're on this movement of sort of taking back our food and really getting past the head game of all the bigger companies like Monsanto who are putting a lot of processed food in the world. But I feel like we're taking it back. Farmers have a place. Real ingredients have a place. And I think it's so important for us because that's how we stay healthy.
Yeah, my goal is at my house, whenever I find the time to actually spend more than a few weeks there, is to grow more of my own food at home. That's really, it's an amazing thing to do. And if you have a wonderful partner, it's a wonderful thing to share along with cooking. And it just adds so much value to your life. I really feel that.
Thank you, Kelly. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
I say drop the jukebox because you're a kitchen hero. You're the kitchen hero.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody, please. Mary
Thank
Moore.
you. No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We hope you enjoyed that. And remember, there's much more coming your way. Follow us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And don't forget, there's always something exciting happening at Market. Go to our website, check out the future market dates, get your registration in early.